Hi, I'm Sarah Gabrielli, and I've traveled to every single lesbian bar in the country for my podcast, Cruising. Each episode of Cruising features a different space and tells the stories of the humans that run it and the humans that call it home. You can listen to Cruising on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Season 1 and 2 are available now, so be sure to binge them before Season 3, which will go beyond the bars to queer bookstores, farms, peace encampments, and more, premiering February 4th.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast, Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's only one story. The Only One in the Room has a wide variety of guests, from prisoners to abuse survivors to swingers. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee that Only One in the Room will have a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
Econoline Crush formed in 1992. They're from Vancouver. They hit platinum status with their The Devil You Know album back in 1997. A couple Juno nominations in 1995 for Purge, in 98 for The Devil You Know. They went on a hiatus in 2005. Back for some shows in 2006. They put out the album Ignite in 2008. And the last time their singer Trevor Hurst was a guest, the band was on a Canadian tour. And honestly, the fact that they're still going over 30 years later is pretty incredible. I've known the guys since the late 90s. They would come into Seafox from time to time during my 15-year stint there. And the last time around, we talked to Trevor for close to an hour. He told a Bob Ezrin and Billy Idol story that you're going to love. We talked about GNR, playing Madison Square Garden. He touched on guitarist Ziggy's death, which was back in March of 22. We talked about touring with Kiss and all the stuff that he learned from them. We touched on addiction, NHL playoffs, being inspired by INXS, Chris Cornell, and The Cult. And stop me if you've heard this before, Trevor talked about being in studio with legendary producer Bob Rock and the advice that he's held on to over the years.
Okay, so you know how it's interesting, like, as you age and you go through life, I don't know if everybody does this, but I tend to like to revisit some advice I get and how I processed it at the time and see if I want to process it any differently. And I can remember working on, I don't know if it was You Don't Know What It's Like or Make It Right. But there was a moment in time where it was just kind of like myself, Ziggy, and Bob Rock in the studio. And Bob says, you know, I said something about, oh man, this is so cool, the way this sounds. And Ziggy was like, yeah, man, it's Hitsville, USA, or something. Like he said, you know, it was really funny, like just the way he said it. And Bob looked at him and he was like, you know, it doesn't matter what happens with the song. I mean, you should be like involved in the process. The process is the answer. That's where the, you know, the meat of it is, or whatever. And I can remember like looking at Bob and looking at Zig and kind of watching this go down and going, man, what a bunch of bullshit. We got to sell some records, you know? Like, you know, I was like,
totally, the process is fine, but dude, we need this to be a big song.
Yeah. And, but now I understand what he's talking about, because like at the end of the day, you know, you don't know what the hell your song's going to do, but you will record and you will record and you will record and you'll build this thing. And if you enjoy building the machine, which we do so much, we've been doing it and doing it and doing it for over all these years and rebuilding it and tooling it and fixing it and changing it and building it, tearing it up and building it again. We've been doing it so many times that you start to understand, hey man, it's the process. It's the process of recording, writing, fighting for the parts, you know, losing the battle for the parts, going over, you know, arrangements. It's cool, man. The whole thing is cool. It's a blessed existence. And I think the sooner in your career you learn that, the better.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by the Homedwell Group. Buying a house? Selling your home? Contact Kyle at homedwell.ca today.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, Stop with the voice. Just
The
keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.